Hello and welcome to mission 16 and 17 of Dante. You're gonna be seeing mission 16 on the Dante Must Die difficulty because I actually lost my footage for Hell and Hell, so I'm not about to re-record this. So I did this like, I don't know, the past couple of days, something like that. And I played very sloppily here. So it's not exactly great. Here you can just red hot knight this room. I didn't have my gunslinger on, which is silly, so instead I had to do this room the old-fashioned way by taking out the behemoth the old-fashioned way, throwing my swords at him and constantly just running after his ass and making sure he doesn't actually like whatchamacallit, hit me. Now, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, this is, if I would have gotten hit here, I would have reset, but I didn't get hit. I didn't feel like it was worth resetting for this mission in particular. It just didn't feel necessary, and I can Kalina and the rest of the room. I don't know, I'm taking it a lot easier with Dante. I guess I'm kind of sort of getting used to the whole, cheese strategy, or my particular style of cheese. I use red hot knight less and more Kalina and cheese. That's my particular favorite style of cheesing most missions, and it works for me, and it works pretty well, and I just like using it. I don't know, because I kind of sort of hate like farming orbs with Dante. That is probably the worst thing that I can possibly do in this game, and if I want to use red hot knight consistently like everywhere, I do have to farm a lot of orbs, which is why I personally just prefer not to. And this room I definitely should have just red hot knight, but I wasn't in gunslinger mode and I lost my chance, so I didn't want to restart because you don't actually get a checkpoint between these two rooms, and I didn't want to redo the previous room, so I was like, nothing here is gonna attack me from off screen, so I'm just gonna Kalina and the room instead of cheesing it with red hot knight. It does take me longer because no doubt there are way too many enemies in this room, but nothing is really threatening or dangerous here. I really don't care that much about the enemies here, so I'm just throwing my sword at them and I am doing my regular gun attacks. Nothing particularly intimidating here per se. Actually, the previous room would have been, because of that floaty behemoth that personally I feel like is a danger, the previous room would have been benefited more if I had actually landed the red hot knight. This one, it's more of a like, who cares? There's a bunch of lizards here that can't do anything if you off-screen them. And with that amount of points, I could actually, if I continue to maintain that score, I could actually just no continue Cerberus. Unfortunately, the next couple of fights will lower my score quite a lot. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest, Fausting most things, I found that the Kalina and cheese at the very least gives you a chance to go for a score. Red Hot Knight and Faust just does not. Like, the moment you start Fausting, which is what I'm gonna do here, because there's a queen, there's a behemoth. I don't particularly fancy spending a bajillion years, so of course I threw a red hot knight at them, and there you go, like you saw, 400 decrease in my score. That's what I mean. Like, Faust is terrible for score. Like, you have to know damage shit if you're gonna do Faust. And quite frankly, I could have Kalina and that room and maybe maintain my score a little bit, but I mean, the next couple of things I can't. That's my problem with this particular stage. Here is the actual neural strategy, and I was trying to red hot knight, but unfortunately I didn't manage to. Thankfully, Nero always saves my butt with his ragtime, and so I can red hot knight this room even if I mess up. Now, how do you get this consistently? You just turn off network. That way only your playthrough is going to be available, and if you consistently do rack time with Nero there, then Dante will always have rack time available to him there as well, which is what I found to be best. And I hate this room, so I'm gonna lose Lucai and Judgment it, and usually it takes it out. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I feel like sometimes the Judgment is like in very poor shape. And by the way, I should have started charging my Sin Devil trigger here, because I lost a lot of damage, because as you can see, my Sin Devil trigger, if I don't charge it, like all of those hits could have like been a couple of extra bars on my DT. And as you can see, Kalina Ann gives me 400 points where I lost 400 because of Faust. Like, I literally, I hate the Faust cheese for this in particular. Like, if you want to go for score even remotely, it feels like you can't use Faust worth a damn, because your score just tanks when you use that hat. Like, that's the one, let's say, drawback of using the hat. It has fantastic cheese power, but you do have to know damage everything, because otherwise you're just not making score, and it's really bad. And for Cerberus, I did restart a couple of times, because Cerberus has a couple of phases where I just got hit. I was unlucky. But yeah, usually in this first phase, I try to bait out that attack and throw orbs at him. That's the best strategy. Now, unfortunately for me, if you can see there, sometimes he falls over if you do enough damage. I wasn't doing enough damage, and I will run away from this because I got hit and I can't take damage. Like, one time I got hit by that and I took damage, and I can't take damage there. And this is actually best case scenario for this version, where he does these attacks where you can just sit somewhere and just continuously throw orbs at him. But more often than not, he will get over this phase fast and then move to his worst phase as far as I'm concerned. This phase is annoying because there's nothing I can do. I'm trying to long range him and he's throwing projectiles at me. I have to dodge them with Trickster. And I have to be mindful of where I dodge, because I've gotten hit here just by randomly not paying attention to where I dodge and dodging into a couple of his extra projectiles. So the projectiles were like spawning fell straight on my head because I had nowhere to dodge. Like right here, you see, that was pretty dicey. If I hadn't have moved around a little bit there, I would have just gotten... I would have trickstered my way straight into the previous projectiles and gotten hit. Like, I've had that happen more than I can count. It's not funny when it happens, and it's very annoying. And this, for me, is the most annoying phase that he has. Whenever I can skip this phase, I'm always happy, but usually the skip for this phase are pretty... Like, you have to do a substantial amount of damage to get him from the thunder phase to go to the fire phase directly and skip the ice phase. Because for the other two phases, and I don't know why I'm in Gunslinger mode, I don't need it for this. The only time Gunslinger would actually be useful is if I could actually Red Hot Knight him if he falls down. Unfortunately for me, he didn't fall down until the end where I could just Faust him. So that was... I got a really unlucky Cerberus. Like, really unlucky. He never fell down. He consistently kept changing phases, which is always annoying. So of course I decided, okay, let's Sin Devil trigger, try and get him down a little bit. And here I got even more unlucky because he didn't do his little stages where he throws the lightning. Instead he just did his stupid lightning attacks, which absorbed some of my Lucai, and Judgment doesn't do that much damage to it. I mean, it's good damage either way, but the good thing about that is that I skipped an ice phase, and this is what I mean. He fell down way too late for me. At this point, it makes no sense to do Red Hot Knight when I can just spam orbs and kill him. If he would have fallen down earlier, I could have Red Hot Knight his arse, but I just didn't have the chance. He didn't give me the chance. This was a bad Cerberus fight, but yeah. I got the no damage. That's the S rank. Moving on to mission 17. This is the most forgiven Urizen fight. And you'll see me mess up so many times here, but that is kind of sort of the beauty of this fight, if you want to call it. Like, look at that. I don't know what I was aiming for there. I lost orbs for no reason. Trying to red hot knight him in the beginning always fails for me. I don't know why. I don't know why it does, but I don't know what the Dante is targeting. I don't know what he sees over there. I'm close enough to Urizen, so it's not an issue of range. I don't know why it fails, but it always fails for me. I don't know why. And either way, so his attacks here are really easy to dodge. If the third stage for this boss didn't exist, I would never use Faust on this boss. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. This is the one boss where I actually feel confident in my long range attacks. Like, Kalina Ann works so well in this early stage, it's not even funny. And Ebony and Ivory work great in the second stage, especially because those purple little things that he sends out in the second stage actually restore DT, which is why DT is so easily spammed here, or SDT as well. And you can just body him, let's say, in the third half by just having a stack of SDT already available and ready to go. Here I try to red hot knight him again. Like, I don't know at this point in time why I'm bothering with this. This is not a hard fight. This is by far one of Dante's easiest fights. Like, look at how little damage I did there, and I was even in Devil Trigger. It wasn't even worth it. Like, those things that you see here, you shoot them with Ebony and Ivory, they restore your DT to crazy amounts. Like, you can SDT through, like, get SDT back through this phase like it's nobody's business. Look at how many they're shooting. If I even had Ebony and Ivory, I would have already had both of my DT gauges filled. So yeah, this second fight, the second stage, not bad. He's still pretty dodgeable. It's only the third stage that I hate for this boss fight. And you can, at that point in time, you can easily SDT him to victory. Which is why I personally don't feel like Faust cheese is worth it for this boss at the very least. But I was stuck with the Faust cheese and I didn't have Ebony and Ivory, and Kalina Ann really doesn't work that well for the second stage of the fight. Because Kalina Ann can't take on all of those projectiles in a timely manner, whereas Ebony and Ivory just wreck them. It was unfortunate, but even with all of that, I still think this is the most forgiving boss in the game. Like, look at how much I messed up in the beginning. I was throwing out red hot knights and hitting nothing. I did no damage to him in the second half. It was really funny. Not really, but you get my point. Like, he doesn't feel hard here. Like, out of all of the years and fights, this one is definitely the easiest in my opinion. The easiest to cheese, the easiest to dodge. And I'm definitely not trying to even go for the cheese at this point. Like, I'm just doing my regular thing. This is how I usually fight him, except I would have Kalina Ann and Ebony and Ivory instead of Faust. I wouldn't even bother bringing Faust here normally. And that's actually how I fought this fight on Dante Must Die. Because this is the Hell and Hell version, and I had no problems, quite frankly. I only had him at the last part, because again, I hate the final point. That's the only point where I personally considered the hat. This one, right here. This is the make or break, the point where I need the hat to work. Because I hate this third stage. This is the one that I don't want to deal with, and I need to bloodbath him here, and I do succeed doing that. But aside from that, this boss is pretty okay. Yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.